Hey guys, how is it going? Welcome to the shop again. Today we're gonna do some TR6 work again, a little bit maybe. If you notice here, there's been a little bit of progress for the last few days since the last video when I finished that area, and we have a new guy here working with us. He's very good actually. And since we're waiting for parts for one of our projects, he wasn't busy, so I put him here on this project and I asked him to remove all the brazed patches here. Remember how all the rust was just covered with patches and they were all brazed? You remember that I spent many hours on the other side removing them? Well, here Mikoła, he managed to save me the effort, and he did all that for me. So now all the rust is exposed, and I'm really happy that I don't need to do this myself now. So I think I'm gonna still remain on the front inner fender. I'm gonna finish this area before I move to the back. But yeah, we will see. And I think I'm gonna start with this A-post here. It needs some patches made for the bottom. Even here on this side there are some holes, so I'm gonna make a patch for here. And since it's working day and the guys are working on another job, they need the welder there, so I'm not gonna be able to weld, but at least I can make a whole bunch of patches and get them ready, maybe even for there, and get them ready for when I have the welder to weld them in. So like I said, it's a working day, and at times it becomes very noisy around me. That's why I decided to stop talking in video and give you a voiceover so you can still enjoy my beautiful Bulgarian accent. I'm not sure why there was a hole here, like perfect round hole at this transitioning piece from the A-post to the seal. Somebody drilled it obviously for some reason, but I don't think it was needed. And also around this hole there were many rust holes. Obviously the transition piece was all pitted on the inside. That's why I decided to replace the entire patch here. And the shape wasn't very easy to reproduce, but I decided to try it. So I started by bending a flange on a piece of metal and then using the shrinker, which I conveniently put out of the frame, to make it round. And that first part was easy. Now the harder part was to make the shape which matches the A-post at the top, which I could easily do on the bead roller, but the problem was that it had to end somewhere. I mean, it had to fade out to zero, so when it meets the seal, it's already flat. And after experimenting for a while with the bead roller, I figured that the best way would be to start from the center and go up towards the part which is gonna meet the A-post, and that made a little cut on the part, but it didn't turn out bad. So now that the part was done, I only had to shape it to match the hole and shape the hole a little bit to match the part, and this patch was gonna be ready. Next I had to take care of the inside of the A-post, at least as far as I could reach, and I treated it with rust converter to get rid of most of the rust, and then I was gonna spray it with primer. I also rebuilt a little piece of the flange of the actual seal that was rotten, so I had to do that before I do the transition piece. For the inside of the A-post I didn't care too much, because I'm gonna do that when I replace the floor inside, but this piece of the flange I needed to fix. And after removing all the surface rust and spraying with primer, I noticed there was a rusty hole on the seal right in the center of the A-post, and instead of fixing that hole I just made it bigger, just like on the other side, so any water that gets trapped there inside the A-post, which obviously happens, drains inside the seal and from there drains out through the drain holes on the actual seal. My colleague KJ actually set me up with another welder so I could keep working while they were working on the other projects, and that was good because I could proceed with welding, not only patch making. So I welded this patch in place. I had to weld also this little cut that the bead roller made and then ground it, and I dare to say it looks nice. Well, of course it's gonna need some body work, but it's much better than before. Then I moved to the other side of the A-post where I had to patch a little hole on the seal first. So I used a little trick here. I made it match the two sides perfectly but overlap the top and bottom, and once I tacked it at the sides, then I just cut the top and the bottom parts and they matched perfectly. Then I just welded them and ground them down. And I was ready to install the patch that I pre-made for the front of the A-post. And then I could move to another area of the car. Doesn't look too bad. And this other area was this one. I think I cleaned up the rust here maybe a month ago. Now I'm not showing too many details here about how I make the patches, because I've done that before on the other side and there are more detailed videos about that. I guess you've seen them, or if you haven't, then I'm upset with you. You'd better go and see that. I'm gonna put a link here. And yeah, so I made the patch to finish the side of the valance. And when it was stuck in place, I ground a little bit of flange and made sure that the valance still matches the shape of the fender, which it did, so I could proceed with rebuilding the inner fender. And the front valance here I'm gonna weld later when I have the car sitting on something higher, because it was a very awkward position for welding now. For the inner fender I started by making a cardboard template, which was the hardest part. Once that was done, it was very easy just to turn it into metal and weld it in place. Before I welded though, I remembered to make some holes on the flange of the valance for plug welds, even though I wasn't gonna weld it anytime soon, but I just wanted to have the holes before I have the metal behind it, because it was gonna be easier. And surprisingly, it became almost seamless. My weld worked very well here, even though this is a part which is never gonna be seen again. Anyway, so the plug welds are gonna be done later when I have the fender on, so I can position the two parts together in the exact location. And now I had to make a patch for the wheel well, which is basically almost a flat strip. Something like that. Well, not really flat, I had to make a little bend on the shorter of the two long sides, but yeah, it was pretty easy patch to be made. When it was all welded and ground down, I could make the plug welds and then grind them too, and it was almost done. And like I said, I left the valance floating for now, so I can install the fender, position it where I want it, and do the plug welds there. Once the plug welds were ground down, I installed the fender one more time so I can mark the position of the hose for the fasteners, and then I drilled the hose, and that was it. It was all done. Yes, I did forget the primer. Oh my god. I guess it's too late now, but yeah, I was supposed to spray primer inside. Too late. Anyways, well, that's gonna be it for today, guys. It's a short video this week, but didn't work much on the cars again. I'm lucky that I had enough time to do these few repairs here. And yeah, hopefully next week after hours I'm gonna be able to work on the GT6 a little bit. So yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for commenting and subscribing as usual, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.